Okay, I've been working away here, adding more bits and pieces, and so I worked on this whole area here, and so I'm down to the last piece. I filled in all these little bits of color, and now I've got the outside one, and I'm going to pick somewhere medium green in here. And so when I look at that, it looks like just a bunch of camo or something. It doesn't look like it's a real thing. So I am going to go in and make sure my overlapping is working. So see this funny space in here? That's what I was talking about early on, and this space over here. So this is where you really go in and have to make sure that there's no overlap. So I can either pull under here or pull this one up above. So bring that to the front. I have a little twisting there to do. And then when you get to a point where something overlaps, very often you don't want this bulgy thing. Sometimes things sort of blend in there a little. So something like that edge is more what would happen in nature. So I'm going to hit this point here. I'm going to Command C to get this tool out again and pull that out. And I'm going to use it over here as well to soften that edge. This is a typical funky shape with this top point, which is what you get when you're doing a rough drawing with Illustrator. So those are the areas that you want to focus on filling in. So you want to create some not big blobby things, but something that's a little softer, a little more narrow, but not like a big blob. I don't know how to describe it. And then this one probably cuts in. I accidentally keep grabbing. See, that looks more like the shape that would be on our bug here. And this is probably a softer curve in there. So just, and this one probably comes up. It looks a little dark. I might grab the eyedropper and pull something a little bit lighter for there. Again, this sharp point doesn't look like that's exactly what would happen in nature. Whoops, got blown up so far. And here's another place where you want to get a softer edge in there. This probably bleeds a little bit more. This probably actually fits more in the nook in here, you know, the way things sort of have a ripple feel. So this shape probably should fit more in this shape. So some of this you can see I'm making it up. I'm having that problem with snap to point, so I'm going to go into view and turn off snap to pixel. I believe I showed you that in a previous video. So if you're having trouble where it's just not going and it keeps wanting to cling to something. So these handles here, I'm getting that bump there because I have two unclick, click when you get all red dots like that, or blue or whatever color background you're using. So that feels more organic to me. This probably is a little less sharp, and moving those handles so they don't overlap. And then here's an awkward space again. So when I click right on it, I get all those red dots. I got to click on that outline. Okay, and this probably would fall in behind this a little more gently. And then I can bring this, I'm holding down the shift key to click both of those and arrange bring to front. So this tucks in a little bit there, but I don't like that shape. So I think what I'm going to do is add another point to that and pull this handle in there. So it feels like it's more of a progression. I'll pull this point, tuck that in there a little bit more. So again, it's sort of this intersection here. I'm going to pull that a little bit more over here. So again, it just looks like a bunch of blobbiness, and it doesn't really look like anything at all. But if I keep pulling back and you squint a little, you know, here's where it's the actual bug, and here's what we've done. So it doesn't look as bad as it does when it's blown up. I want to go back and revisit these lines because what stands out, these look like shapes and these do look like lines, which is something that happens with Illustrator because it's got consistent line weights. So if you ever want to draw a line that looks really natural, eventually you'll know how to deal with using the brushes. We're not working on that yet. But so one thing is to either decide, all right, maybe if I make this just a little bit thinner, it won't be so obvious. And also to not have these handles make that lump like that. And then also if it just grazes the side of this shape and follows that contour a little. And I know that this curve did exist, but if I get rid of that curve a little, it might feel a little more organic. Okay. That looks a little better. I may ultimately decide not to have those lines and to redraw it as a shape. Okay, so I'm going to move on from this for now, and I want to look at this flower. So this flower, if you notice, it's all these spires that do look very similar. So I have my background layer. It looks like I have it unlocked right now. So I'm going to lock it again. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to work on these spires. So I'm going to get my pen tool and I am going to, I'm on the wrong layer, draw this spire shape. And the bottom is going to be hidden behind some other spires, so I don't have to worry too much. And then I'm going to draw this, is it called a stamen? I forget. But this part of the flower, I'm going to tuck it down inside there, and then it gets a little white knob at the top. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to draw a little bit of a knob. It seems like it'd be so simple to draw just a circle shape, but sometimes a real circle really stands out when you've got all these organic shapes. So this, I can pull that pink color, and I can also so what I actually have here, it's a happy accident. That happens sometimes. I was intending to make that a line, but it's not a line. It's a fill. See over here, it's the fill, but it's giving it a little bit of an organic shape, and I think it's just enough. And then this shape, I'm going to pluck that. And then this one, you know, I'm going to draw just one little bit of a shadowy shape down in here that aligns with that edge. Bring it up to on this edge. I'm hitting Shift C to get this tool. Okay, and I'm going to do get back on my pen tool and do a little bit of the shape down in here as well. Whoops, see what just happened? I just accidentally clicked on that point, which is what I was talking about earlier, that can happen, and there it finally did. I lost my point, so I just did Command Z. Sometimes you can get it back. There I go. I got it back by doing Command Z. I'm going to pull this point up here. Okay, now I'm going to use my picker to pick in this darker grayish value. This one here, I want to pick up this value, not quite as dark. there. And then this will be the lighter value here, okay? So now I'm going to put those all together in here. Oops, and this needs to go back to being this fuchsia color, okay? And this fuchsia needs to be above, so I grabbed that and the dot to say arrange, bring to front. Okay, so now I'm going to group these, holding down the shift key to group all the aspects of that flower, or I could just drag over top of it because there's nothing near there, and I'm going to hit Command G, which groups it. So now I have this one flower. So what I can do, zoom out, and I can copy this and paste it again and again and sort of rotate it a bit. So what I actually should be doing is starting up more at the top and then working my way down. So I'm going to actually draw a few more points here. So I'm going to do the same thing over here to get a little bit of a variation. So I'm going to draw this more cupped shape here. And just right, and I didn't mean to have it filled just yet. And then I'm going to draw this rounded white shape here, which sort of descends down into it as well. It's making a sickle sort of shape. And then I'm going to clean up these points a little, hold that in slightly. The shape is kind of funky looking there because the handles overlap. Okay, and then I'm going to get this nice little bright pink spot in there. Okay, so now I'm going to use the eyedropper to grab this deeper pink, grab this lighter white, and then grab this general sort of muted tone in here. Oops, it's too much. Actually, this white did come out right. Let me grab this again. This white should be much more white. That's better. Now this will work better. There. And this looks a little too deep. It feels like it should be a little lighter. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to, clean that up a little so that edge blends in there so it feels like it's actually in that petal. Right. Okay. So I have these grouped together. And so I can copy this and paste, and paste, and paste. And as I place them up here, see how, foreshortening. So this, if you look at those red outlines, the flower I just made is bigger than the thickness of this white flower here. So I can go and shrink with the white arrow this whole thing, and I can distort it a little to give a little variation. So copy, paste, and I can keep adding these in here. I should be working from the top down so that these are actually arranged in front, and these are in front of here. Now these all look exactly alike, so what I will do is I'll go through and I'll do individual. Maybe I delete that on this one. This one, maybe I take the picker and get a brighter white. But that's the idea. So you don't have to keep redrawing everything over and over again. And I keep filling this more and more with that. Okay, great.